Ladies and gentlemen, born in September, let me show you an example of your birthstone. This is a cashmere sapphire. They don't even make these anymore. From 1881 to 1887, that's it. This is the quintessential example of what a sapphire looks like. Cornflower blue, velvetly, smooth coloring. So the next time someone asks you what your birthstone is, tell them I am a cashmere sapphire. Discover the value of your story. Always say that good things come in small packages. Well, that's not always true. Introducing the Millennium Sapphire, the largest cut blue sapphire in the world, 61,500 carats. And that's not even what makes it special. I can already see people making changes to their birthday wishes. discover the value of your story. Increase. So this award lets me know that Hey, Gem Hunter family, let me show you something really special. This is the Star of Adam, the world's largest star sapphire, 1,404 carats. It's called the Star of Adam because in the Muslim religion, Adam lived in Sri Lanka in a place called Adam's Peak right after he left the Garden of Eden. Discover the value. Your story. Good morning. Bonjour. Comment ça va? Et toi? Ça va très bien. Ni hao, hola, bienvenue, Wanying, bienvenidos, bienvenita, benvenuta, namaste, and welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemmological storyteller. And each and every week, I get the unique opportunity to take you on an adventure. The place you've never been before, to hear stories you've never heard before. Each week, I take the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry, and put them all together into a story. What I have discovered and discover each and every week is that so many of the same characteristics, the same traits, the same ways and attributes that we look at and we see gemstones in can be found in people, can be found in you. So what I do is take those gem stories and use them as a template, as an inception point, as a seed, as a bridge to help people, to empower people, to oftentimes remind people to discover the value of their own stories, of who they are. And not only who they are, but how they resonate with the people around them, how they interact with the light. Happy New Year. Happy New Bon Année. Bon Année. Thank you, Barbara. And I wanted to, this is the first, today's January 3rd, and this is the first day, or at least the third day of the brand new year. And a lot of people get excited about different holidays. They get excited about Christmas, of course, and they get excited about birthdays and different celebrations. But I always get really excited this time of year because
for at least the first few days, I'll say the first week, everybody, the energy of the people on the planet, 8 billion people on the planet, their energy is really moving towards the same direction. Talking about what's going to happen this year, what's going to happen this year that's different, how things are going to change, their mission, their passion, their decision on what they want to do, their story. So when we start a brand new year, that's the direction that we're taking. So again, happy bon année, which is Happy New Year in Francais. 2024. I can't believe this is 2024. I know some of you are like, man, this is 2024. You know, I had a chance to, because I live in France, I had a chance to share Happy New Year with at 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock in the evening here in Chicago, 12 o'clock at night in the morning in France. So I had a chance to celebrate Happy New Year with all my family and friends in Francais. So bon année, bonjour, comment ça va? And I wanted to, it's really exciting because when you think about the new year, it's almost like a clean slate. If you put it in your mind, it's a clean slate. This rainbow is representing in the Bible just the new beginning that God gave. It was a promise that God gave the world. That new beginning. So I wanted to start my show with, it's been cloudy. I'm looking outside now. It's been cloudy, a little sunny. Yesterday was sunny in Chicago. It's been cloudy, a lot of places, storms. But in your heart, leading your mind, start out with a rainbow. So again, today is January 3rd, 2024. And I'm so proud and happy to be with all of you. Thank you for those of you who have followed me all these years now. Wow. And still here today. Thank you so much for just everything, all the things that you've done for me personally. So this show is really about not only just a story for you, but also my own story, the things that has happened to me in all these years, especially in December and January, the beginning of the new year. So I wanted to, some of you've heard this before, but I wanted to really, this is a ritual that I do the beginning of every new year. In fact, when I was homeless 32 years ago, this is when I really began to understand what this passage that I always talk about, what it really means. And of course I have the book right here. So I wanted to just, someone needs, as I say in church, someone needs to hear this message. So I wanted to just start out this brand new show for the brand new year with just this quote. Though your circumstances may be uncongenial, they shall not long remain so of you, but perceive an idea and strive to reach it. You cannot travel within and stand still without. Here is a youth, hard pressed by poverty and labor, confined long hours in an unhealthy workshop, unschooled, and lacking all the arts of refinement. But he dreams of better things. He thinks of intelligence, of refinement, of grace and beauty. He conceives of and mentally builds up an ideal condition of life. The vision of a wider liberty and a larger scope takes possession of him. Unrest urges him to action. And he utilizes all his spare time and means, small though they are, to the development of his latent powers and resources. Very soon, so altered has his mind become that the workshop can no longer hold him. It has become so out of harmony with his mentality that it falls out of his life as a garment. It's cast aside. And with the growth of opportunity which fit the scope of his expanding powers, he passes out of it forever. The thing that got me and still continues to touch me when I read that, when I say that out loud, and as you can say, here's the book. I mean, the book was here, but I say it oftentimes, and I always say it in New Year's because it's a brand new year. And the thing that got me, the thing that touches me every time I say that quote, it all started from a dream. It's a dream. Earlier on in the book, it says, dream lofty dreams. And as you dream, so you shall become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall at last unveil. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last reveal. That's what we're doing. That's what so many billions of people on the planet are doing. They are thinking about, and this is 2024, what is your dream? What is some of you thinking about businesses? Some of you thinking about starting families. Some of you are thinking about just going back to school. What is your dream? And what I'm saying here today, and when I say hopefully for the rest of my life, is that the way you get there is by a story. So I titled this episode, What Dreams May Come. And as I told you all the time, that when I do these shows, it literally is, for me, it's a spiritual thing. I have friends who'll say, what are you going to do next week? And sometimes I say, I don't know, because it has to hit me. It has to, as you notice it, and those of you who are new, I don't use scripts. There's no scripts. This is just from here. And so it has to touch me. It has to be something that I see and realize. So what I thought about when I was thinking about the brand new year and the gemstone that's attached to this time of year, the title came to me as What Dreams May Come. And some of you might be familiar with this from Hamlet's soliloquy. And I didn't do theater in school, although I probably should have, but I just wanted to, it's a small part in this soliloquy, to be or not to be. To be or not to be, that is the question. 'Tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing them to die, to sleep no more. And by a sleep we say ye end the heartache of 1,000 natural shocks, that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation, devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, pronounced to dream. Ah, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come. I didn't really start thinking about that quote when I first heard it until I saw the movie. That is, let me go back. That is to question what dreams may come. Now, that soliloquy, those of you who are familiar with Hamlet, actually is a suicide message. And a lot of people, we know the mental challenges that a lot of people are suffering this time of year. So I wanted to change it from to be or not to be, to maybe something more uplifting, something more encouraging, to live or not to live. That is the question. That is the question that all of us have to think about this time of year, really all year, but especially this time of year as we go into a brand new year. And some of you remember that story. Before I go back to what dreams may come from, what dreams may come. Some of you might remember that story. The movie came out like 1998. Robin Williams, which actually is really ironic that he died of suicide. But that movie was entitled "What Dreams may come. It was a beautiful movie about literally a man, Robin Williams, played by Robin Williams, who was totally in love with his wife. His wife, his family, his children died. His wife committed suicide, and she, because of different types of religions, she went to hell. If you commit suicide, you automatically go to hell. And he died in a tragic accident after that. And what he did was, actually, he died first, and then the wife committed suicide because he died. But he discovered while he was in heaven that his wife committed suicide, and because of that, she would be cast into hell. And he loved her. His love was so profound that he said, nah, I'm not doing this. He literally escaped heaven to go to hell to get his wife. And he believed that no matter how many other people didn't make it before him, or that it was almost literally impossible. The character was played by Max Saldau, who basically wound up being his son. You watch, I don't want to say the whole movie, but he said that he didn't think it was even possible. Don't do it. And Robin Williams in that movie said, it's not a matter of whether or not it's possible. It's a matter of whether you believe. So that is the question, whether you believe in your dream. And what's so amazing about gemology to me is when you begin to really look at the history of gemology, what gemstones mean to people, you see examples of so many different aspects of life. So in this case, to believe. So let's go back to the 14th, 15th, 16th century. Let's go back to the 15th, 16th century. Let's think about it. You are an explorer. You are a conquistador. You are an adventurer. And you got on, think about it, especially the ladies, think about it. You got on a ship filled with men that you don't even know. And the reason why I say especially you ladies, because most of them, we didn't have good hygiene back in those days. You know, everybody, this wasn't Princess Cruise Line. This wasn't Carnival. This isn't a Royal Caribbean. You got on a wooden ship with a bunch of guys. And the ship didn't have any of the amenities. You know, the toilet was in the head, the front of the ship. That's why they call it the head. It was just a hole. And you was on that ship for months, literally months and months and months. You was on this ship. You didn't take a bath. You didn't have all the hygiene. You didn't have deodorant. So imagine being on that ship, knowing from the very beginning that what you were going to face in regards to the crew. People, the guys people that you may not even liked. And as I say to you all the time, imagine crossing, those of you, especially those of you who've been on cruises or just even in an airplane. Think about how long it takes on just a 12-hour trip, 11-hour trip to go from the United States and France. And you're sitting there on this plane and, the plane does all kinds of things to keep you entertained. You didn't have any of that in the 15th to 16th century. Everything. You knew that when you got, not only did you not know where you were going, maybe you didn't know because you were crew. Maybe the captain knew. He knew the basic direction, but he didn't know where he was going. So you didn't know where you were going. You didn't know how long it was going to take to get there. You was with people that, was just imagine. Come on, guys. Just all I think about is just what did that ship smell like? You were working the whole time. It wasn't like you was on the ship and you were relaxing and you had the crew. No, you were the crew. You are the crew. Everything that needed to be cleaned and done on that ship, you did it. And that was before you got there. And then once you got there, you had to find a place to land. You had to get on the land. You had to deal with the indigenous plants, fauna, and flora of the area. You had to deal with the indigenous people. Sometimes they liked you. Sometimes they didn't. When Pizarro in his 280 guys got on the ship and went to South America. What did they go there for? Once they got there, they had to climb the Andes Mountains. And those of you who don't know the geography of the Andes Mountains, there's no really little small mountains in the Andes Mountains. You know, we talk about 5, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 foot elevation. Why? Why did they do it? Why were they willing? Look at that ocean. Imagine just sailing out in the ocean for a dream. For a dream. This is what you're on. All the work on that ship, and you can imagine it was a wooden ship. It wasn't stainless steel. You had to clean it. You had to scrub it. You had to take the barnacles off. You had not to mention the weather, things like this. You had to do this. Why? For a dream. You believed, before I even go back, you believed in that dream so profoundly that you were going to find a gemstone or gold or silver. That's what you believed. And so as I do this show, I want you to imagine, what would your business be? What would your dream? How would you manifest your dream if you had that mindset? That no matter what, I can imagine in my head, and I have stories in my head going all the time. I can imagine this guy named Bob, Bob the Spaniard. Okay. And Bob the Spaniard says, honey, tells his friends, I'm going to go and I'm going to find some gemstones. And people are like, really? Really? You going? Yes, I'm going. And someone, Raul said, Raul, senor, you know what happened to the other guy, right? What happened? He died. What do you mean he died? He didn't come back. He went, he had the same attitude you had, and he didn't come back. It happened to it happened to Raul. It happened to Hector. It happened to Jose. And you're like, okay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get on that ship. And I'm going to go. And because I believe in what my dream is, then I'm going to do it anyway. Imagine if you had that mindset of a 15th, 16th century adventurer, explorer. And because people believed in dreams, no one said, not really. Oh, you crazy. Yeah. And even if they did, you still win anyhow. Imagine you had that mindset. That's what dreams are. That's what that part in As a Man Thinketh says when he says, very soon so altered has his mind become that the workshop can no longer hold him. Because whatever he was going through in his life, and ladies, when I say he, please put she in there. It's just that, we have issues with women and everything else and stuff. But trust me, there were women on that boat, on those boats, that made those discoveries. Of course, we know history half the time, with 90% of the time, we don't give credit to the women, but there were women there. Imagine having that mindset where you believed in your dream that profoundly. So some of you are saying, how does this fit into gemstones? Well, I'll tell you. Tanzanite. What is tanzanite? Tanzanite is actually a magical stone. In fact, tanzanite, of all the gemstones that's in the metaphysical universe, tanzanite is the most powerful, because tanzanite it brings together the heart, the mind, and the heart together. That's what it does. This is tanzanite. Tanzanite is usually associated with the month of December. It is the birthstone, is one of three birthstones in December. Note, I do it in Europe. In the United States, we do 3 like this or 3 like this. In Europe, it's 3 like this. So I try to keep it. So this is 3. You have turquoise. You have zircon, and you have tanzanite. And tanzanite is of the 3 the most valuable. And what makes tanzanite really interesting in terms of a gemstone, tanzanite, most of the gemstones we talk about on this channel, we will talk about gemstones that have been known for hundreds, even thousands of years, not tanzanite. Tanzanite is a brand new gemstone in terms of a gemstone history, chronology. Tanzanite was discovered January 1967. I didn't really know that. So this is how this show comes about. I knew it was found in 1967. I didn't know what month that it was actually born. So it was actually created in 1967, January. I was 7 years old. I wasn't even 7 yet. I was 6. And it was found in Kilimanjaro, in the foothills of Kilimanjaro. For those of you who don't know, Kilimanjaro is considered the roof of Africa. Every continent has the highest mountain. So in Africa, the continent of Africa, Kilimanjaro is the highest. And tanzanite was found in what's called Merlani Hills. It's at the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. And what makes Mount Kilimanjaro really interesting is when you look at a map, what Mount Kilimanjaro was on the eastern part of Africa, and where it was created from the titanic forces of the continent of Africa splitting apart from the continent of Asia. It's a divergent plate. It means moving us. We talked about the tectonic plates early on. So it literally is splitting. Centuries from now, Africa, that part of Africa will split off. So tanzanite is only found one place on Earth, Tanzania. It was formed 585 million years ago. So here's a gemstone that was created 585 million years ago, and it was found January 1967. What makes tanzanite so amazing as a gemstone, on the gemmological point of view, is that tanzanite is basically exhibits what's called trichroism. Trichroism is a very unique phenomenon. There's only a few gemstones that experience that. And what trichroism is when you take a piece of tanzanite, and depending on the angle that you look at it, it comes into different colors. In fact, that's an identifying characteristic of tanzanite. When I look into a tool that literally sets it up, it literally gives me the different colors. And so when you look at it, it's either blue, violet, or burgundy color. Oftentimes when you heat tanzanite is almost always heated, because tanzanite starts out as a brown stone and is either heated naturally by still being in the earth. When it was found, it was exposed, so the heat of the African sun heated it up, and which came out with the colors, and or it's done naturally. So almost all tanzanite is heated, and from that heated tanzanite comes that trichroism. And we're going to go on commercial, but what I want you to think about is your dream. Whatever your dream is, started from the different directions that you took it. You might have started out as a lawyer, then you decided to do something else. You started just baking cookies for your kids at school, and you decided to open up a business. So when we talk about tanzanite, I want you to see the relationship of something that has been around for millions of years, and yet it was recently discovered. The same thing that some of us are going through right now. There's things, there's talents, there's gifts, there's stories inside of us that have been around since we were a kid. You could always fix a car, but now you've decided to open up your own car repair shop, or become a nurse or a doctor, or get your master's degree. So when we come back, we're going to take that to the next level, how you can take that concept and use it. I'll see you on the other side. All right, we're back. So let's continue on with Tanzanite. This is Mount Kilimanjaro. This is the town of Miralani. You see, it's not a big city. This is the town of Miralani. If you go there now, maybe it's a little bit more built up. But in fact, this is on my bucket list of things to do, to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, 16,796 feet. I'm pretty sure that's the height of it. It is the highest walking mountain on earth, meaning that you don't need special equipment. But this is where it started. And the man who discovered Tanzanite, Jomani Hero, which I like the middle name, Hero Nogama. This is the man he was a sheep herder. He was a poor, extremely poor sheep herder. He is a Maasai tribesman. And for those of you who don't know the Maasai are indigenous African people who live in Tanzania and Kenya. They've been around for hundreds and thousands of years. And for the most part, they are cattlemen. They are great cattlemen. They are known to raise great cattle and the things that they can do. And also they're known as great warriors. Not only are they incredible warriors, but part of their ritual as they were growing up was to fight a lion, like a real lion. You know, a real lion. I always have an expression, you know, how everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do some real lion stuff. Okay, these guys, part of their rite of passage was to fight a lion. And another thing that they're known for is this is a Maasai. This is a Maasai warrior. This is their traditional dress. And so what Mr. Nogama is he was just walking around with what little cattle he had, and he stumbled onto this field of these bluish transparent gemstones, and he ran it up the flagpole. Nobody really knew what it was. First they thought it was like a sapphire, and then they ran up the flagpole and went through this place, and then they discovered that it is a variety of what's called sosite. And this is Nogama, Mr. Nogama on the right, being congratulated by the president of Tanzania. He discovered it in 1967. It took 51 years for him to be officially recognized as the discoverer of Tanzanite. And they gave an award and plaque, and they gave him some money. When I found it at first, the money they gave him was $44,000. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, Tanzanite is $1 million business. Multi-million-dollar business. Tanzanite, when Tanzanite first started really coming out in the 1960s, Tanzanite was more popular than diamonds. In fact, Tanzanite is more rare than diamonds. Tanzanite is about 1,000 times more rare. For real. Porteve, for real. 1,000 times more valuable than diamonds. So when I made the conversion, basically 110,579,604 Tanzanite shillings. Again, dreams, lofty dreams, and so as you dream, so you shall become. He dreamt. When I read his story, he dreamt all the time. He told his children that one day, he didn't know how, he didn't know what he was going to do, but one day he was going to be able to provide for his family. He was going to be able to get them out of the poverty that they were in. And I just found it so amazing when I started looking at his story and thinking about what this day means, what dreams may come. That's what he imagined. That's what he saw for himself. And he became it. Dreams. So the things that we learn from gemstones is how those, not just the gemstones itself, but how special it is, how rare it is for people to have dreams. One, and it's even more rare to have people to follow through with those dreams. And the way those dreams happen is because of a story. You have to understand, you have to believe in your story. You have to be that man or that woman getting on that ship, going God knows where, and don't know where you're going to get there, how long it's going to take there, and you believed in it so profoundly that even though you knew you wasn't going to own the stone, none of those guys who went out there, the 16th, 17th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th century, all those guys that went, I was mostly guys, so I'll just say guys, the most, all those men that got on those ships, they just believed in the dream. They believed that at some point in their lives, they were going to find something that was beautiful. And their life would change as a result of that. And that didn't happen for 99% of those people, but yet they believed anyhow. Mr. Nugamo believed, and he found it. You have to understand that your dream is rare, and not because it's rare because no one has ever thought of it. It's rare because it's your dream. That pizza restaurant that you wanted to open, that daycare center because you loved kids and you wanted to create that, that's rare. It's not just rare to think of it, but rare for you, the way you're going to do it. Rarity. This is Mount Kilimanjaro. There is no place on earth. In fact, that literally Tanzanite is a single generation gemstone, meaning that once this is over, those of you who were born in December, Tanzanite is your gemstone. I highly recommend you buy Tanzanite now. Not because just the value, because it is a single generation gemstone, meaning that once this generation is over, the gemstone is, there's going to be no more new Tanzanite. Tanzanite will stop to exist. So all the Tanzanite, 100 years from now, all the Tanzanite you see will be Tanzanite that someone will be second or third owned Tanzanite. It will be passed down. That's what Tanzanite is. That idea that you have in your mind, if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And if they did it, even if they did something like it, no one's going to do it the way you do it. Maasai warriors are also known for their jumping abilities. Nobody can out jump them. They are like some of the greatest jumpers in the world. Imagine having that feeling inside of yourself. Imagine just being able to know that you can jump higher than anybody else. Imagine you can do your dream, your goal, your mission better than anybody else. And it's not a competition. It's just that you know that you know. You know that you know. If you make jewelry, if you make bread, my friend in France, Stefan, who owns Le Pain d'Ici, I think he was a software engineer and he loved bread and he wanted to just create bread. And you can feel it. You can taste it, that this is a man that very soon so altered has his mind become that the workshop will no longer hold him. He wanted to make bread. And he did. He did. Less than the odds of finding another site of Tanzanite is less than 1 in a million. They're still looking, haven't found Tanzanite. Literally, here's a stone that's been around for 585 million years, found in 1967. And in all these years, no one has ever found another site that Tanzanite can be found. Doesn't that say the same thing about you and your idea? Doesn't that say that? Remember when? How did the guy who created Google, Amazon, Jeff Bezos? I remember when Jeff Bezos, I remember hearing on the news that there was this guy and these two people, man and woman, who were in their basement selling books. And I can remember clearly thinking, what a stupid idea, because there was all these bookstores. Remember Barnes and Nobles and Broca Botanos and all these bookstores? Today, 2024, where are those bookstores? And yet, where is the man that had a dream, Jeff Bezos and his wife? Yeah. This is the roof of Africa. So, which shows when I look at that picture, what I'm looking at is here is a gemstone that came from the middle of nowhere. Literally, you are in the middle of nowhere. And yet a gemstone that's 1,000 times more rare than a diamond can be found here. That's your dream. That's tanzanite. So, and what tanzanite does, as I say, tanzanite brings together. And the reason why it was called tanzanite, here's where value comes in. Nobody knew tanzanite. It was a nice blue stone. They didn't know how. It's literally a zosite. So in the beginning, what they was going to call it was blue zosite. In fact, the person who, when they found the gemstone, Mr. Nogamo gave it to some white guy who actually was, I forgot his name now, but he was the grandson of Louis Tiffany. And when he gave it to Louis Tiffany was like, no, we can't call it blue zosite because that sounds like blue suicide. That's a quote. He said he thought it sounded like blue suicide. So he created the name tanzanite because the Tanza part came because it came from Tanzania. And the site part is because it's a variation of the name zosite. So they called it tanzanite because they knew that it would sell. It would be exotic. And that's what they called it, tanzanite. And also because tanzanite looks a lot like another gemstone or similar called a cashmere sapphire. And we talked about cashmere sapphires. Cashmere sapphires coming from the Iran region was by that point was completely mined out. By that point, they could not find more cashmere sapphires. And that's why, thank you, Barbara. That's why we ran that commercial, because when you talk about a cashmere sapphire, you're talking about the absolute best quality sapphire there is. I've seen a cashmere sapphire, of course, in the museum. I've never actually held a cashmere sapphire. That's how rare it is. You can go your whole life and never see a cashmere sapphire. In fact, the last time they found cashmere sapphire was 1887. That's the last time cashmere sapphire was mined. So when they found tanzanite, they found a replacement. They found something that was on that level, but tanzanite takes it on a whole nother level. Tanzanite. When you think about dreams, when you think about what As a Man Thinketh talks about, again, it's the integration of the heart and the mind. You have to believe in your story. You have to see it. People, you saw the commercial, we talked about New Year's resolutions. The best way to me to make your New Year's resolution come true is you have to make it into a story. You have to make it into a story where you see it every day, where you see it in your mind. You imagine the characters. You imagine what you have to do, the ups and downs, not just because every story needs an antagonist. You're already living in the antagonist because you're not there. You're disappointed. You want another job. You want another relationship. You want something. There's something. So that's the antagonist. You're not happy. And when you create that story, that's when Once Upon a Time happens. That's when there's an integration between your heart and your mind. It's that story. And according to what metaphysics tells us, that tanzanite is not only a gemstone that can cause the integration of the heart and the mind, but tanzanite also speaks to the throat chakra. So meaning that it is impossible for you to deny what's inside of you. That's what happens when you begin to believe in your story. 51 years, that man knew that he discovered tanzanite. Mr. Nogama knew that he discovered tanzanite. He was the one. Took him 51 years before he got recognition. 51 years. For the world to understand that this is what he found. This is what he discovered. This is what he is responsible for. And there's a whole industry. It's called Tanzanite One, which is on not the same level of De Beers, but it is literally a conglomerate. It is the source for tanzanite in the world. They actually have their own grading system. That's how profound tanzanite is. And this man had to wait that long to believe in it. How long so for those of you who've been waiting a long time for your dream to happen, that's what this New Year's means. That's what January 3rd is. You're literally 3 pages, 3 paragraphs, 3 sentences into your dream. And in order for that to happen, there has to be an integration. There has to be a believing. The reason why I keep talking about as a man thinketh is because when I was going through what I was going through, those of you who know me know I was homeless. And the reason why I keep crediting this book as changing my life, because I said it every single day. You have to believe in it. You have to see it. If weight loss is your goal for this year, 10, 25 pounds, I don't care how much you need to lose. You have to understand not only what the goal is, but you have to understand the story along the way. Those people that got on those ships, the guys who were mining tanzanite, they had to believe that all the backbreaking work that they're doing, tanzanite is found like about 1,000 meters in the ground. It's not because it comes up. It comes up. The reason why Mr. Nugamo found it is because of the geological shift that was going on in the area, and off the weathering the way it keeps raining, and eventually the water wears away the rock, and the rock is exposed. So he just happened to find it because it's not found anywhere else. 585 million years ago it was created. So in all that time, with all the Maasai people who have walked through that area, it wasn't until he found that gemstone. It wasn't until he did it. How's that any different than your dreams? How many times have we heard stories of people that did stuff with something that you looked at every day, and because they shifted in a different way, just like tanzanite, if you look at it a different way, it's a different color. You have to, and you're better than tanzanite because tanzanite is only trichronic. Think about how many, you're pleochronic, Pleo chronic. That means you have many different ways of looking at something. And some of those ways, maybe one of those ways will be the way for you to create that dream. It will be the way for you to create the image, the brand, the business, the house, with the relationship, the family that you want to create. You have to see what it is. Very soon we see this youth as a full-grown man. We find him a master of certain forces of the mind which he wields with worldwide influence and almost unequal power. In his hands, he holds the cords of gigantic responsibilities. He speaks. He cooks. He cleans. She builds. She grows. And yet, and very soon, lives are changed. What that dream is you have in your mind is the dream that will change lives. What dreams may come? What happens when you begin to believe in your dream? Lives are changed. Very soon, so altered has mind. Men and women hang upon your words, hang upon your design, your business, your clothes, your design, your pizza, your clothes, your car, whatever you do. Very soon, men and women hang upon your words and remold their characters in sunlight. Mr. Gemmological found tanzanite because the sun had heated that gemstone. And tanzanite is just a brown, kind of a dark brownish stone before it's heated. But that sunlight hit that rock and he found. And sunlight, He becomes the fixed and luminous center around which innumerable destinies revolve. He has realized the vision, not the idle wish, the vision of his youth. He has become one with his ideal. And I am such a firm believer in dreams, in what can happen when you begin to believe. Not only am I the haircut of the dream president, I'm a client. I'm a client. For those of you who watch me, for those of you who follow my Facebook, understand that the things that I've done happen. I want you to say to yourself and understand that once upon a time, I had nothing. I was a rock. I was that brown rock, just there until I was treated. This is tanzanite. This is what tanzanite looks like before you do anything to it. This is rough tanzanite. So is this. Just rough tanzanite before it's heated. This is your dream. This is what some of us are thinking, many of us are thinking about on January 3rd, 2024. What is your dream? Where do you want to become? What do you want to do? This is you. And it takes this to become this, but you have to see it. You have to understand what it is. You have to create the symphony between your heart and your mind to make it happen. When someone gives you a tanzanite on your birthday or a birthstone and everything else, in my mind, what they're doing is they're giving you a gift that symbolizes or gives the wearer the ability to integrate their heart and your mind. What a wonderful gift. What a wonderful concept. And again, it's not a matter of as soon as you pick it up, you just imbued with this power. No. You have to imbue that power into it. You have to believe in it. That's the analogy between gemstones and people. You have to believe that this power, this gemstone gives you that power. You got to see it. You got to understand what it is that you want to do. And we don't have 585 million years. We got X amount of years. Because we can go different colors because of who we are as human beings, because we are pleiochronic. We can come from different angles, but where we don't have the advantage of gemstones, we can do different things, but we don't have the time. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about the time, dreams. And that's what I want people to understand. That's what I want you to get out of today is everything. And again, I'll give you that challenge for the new year. Anything that you think about as far as a human condition, tell me, send me a note, drop me an email, gemhunterstories@gmail.com. And I can make the analogy. Thank you. I can make the analogy of a gemstone that you love or people love and see how that gemstone manifests into the things that you want to do in your life. Or the way you see the world. That's why this show is called Gem Hunter Stories, because it's not just me as a gem hunter. All of us are gem hunters. All of us are looking for that thing in our lives. And what I'm saying is on January 3rd, 2024, this is the beginning. If you want it to be. As my good friend Renell says, if you want, if you can. So take the time as the year goes on to see your dream, to picture, to imagine your dream, and if you already have your dream, then help someone else acquire their dream. Help somebody, let them know what you went through, how many years, decades you went through trying to imagine and see your dream. And now today you have it now. So tell someone, whether it be young or older, that it's not too late. It's never too late. Mr. Nogama waited 51 years. How long have you waited for that dream to happen? So I hope you got something out of today. Happy New Year. Bon année for my French family and friends. Happy New Year. And let's make this new year everything. Let's at least move towards a direction where this new year, 2024, is different or better than all the years that we've enjoyed and that you've gone through in your life thus far. So until next week, my name is Barry B. Mixon. I am a gemmological storyteller, and I want you to live a life that is marvelous, beautiful, magnificent. And the only way you get there, in my estimation, is you have to begin to discover the value of your own stories. So until next week, we're going to be talking about time. So you need to understand where time, we're going to be talking about with Charlie Jones, my brother, Marine. And we're going to talk about how time fits into that. What would you do if you had a time stone that you can do anything that you want to do, figure out past, present, and future. And we're going to talk about that next week. But until next week, au revoir, à te tella, voilà.
All the pearls on the market today are actually cultured pearls. Yeah, that's right. Natural pearls are extremely rare. So if you have one, your grandmother said that she got one from way, way back, give me a call. Discover the value of your story.